You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 183.2, our girls basketball semi-state preview and picks from across the state. With guest Michelle Garmon, the sports editor of the Tipton Tribune, and Elwood call leader.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, basketball fans, to our girls basketball semi-state preview. Today is February 21st, 2025. It's a Friday. So it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. Coming to you today from Stage 22, joined by Michelle Garmon on the phone once again. Thank you so much for being here, Michelle. It's a great week for girls basketball.
It is. We're down to the final. At,
We got eight
you
in
probably
each
have
class. Eight in each class.
eight. Thank you. Eight in each class. So that's 32. That's what I wanted to say, but I thought better
Right.
be careful here.
Right. Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, I mean it's great. It's a great weekend. I love it because, to be honest, I mean sectionals always are, but the semi-state is the closest we get to the way the system was in one class basketball. 3 games in one day. Fantastic.
It's so good. It used to be the regional, now it's the semi-state. It's probably even better at the semi-state level.
Oh, I think it's
As far as
much better at
competition,
Semistate.
goes,
Oh,
it's
yes.
um, almost every place is going to have at least one great game, possibly two, and probably even three.
Right, and I really kind of like the way they draw it now. They redraw the semi-state pairings after regional, and I think one class is probably never coming back, but I think that would have been something that would have made one class basketball kind of fun too if they had redrawn semi-state. Like the North semi-state and the South semi-state had redrawn those.
Never say never. I will never give up. I will never give up the battle. There's no reason you can't have both tournaments. Anyway, I will. I will. I said no tangents tonight, right? It's too late at night, and if we start talking about class basketball, Michelle,
Well, that was the only thing I wanted to go to. Is I love the
I
fact they
know,
redraw it, and I love this weekend of the tournament.
I know, but I just, if I start talking about that, I will never stop.
Well, no, that's all. Like I said, that's all I wanted. I didn't want to get
I
into a
know,
discussion on class.
I know you know. Today we're going to start in Class A and work our way up, and that, of course, is the, well, let's start with the 10 a.m. game. It's at Shelbyville in at Shelbyville High School. 16 and 11 South Decatur against number 2 and 20 and 5 Borden at 10 a.m. Michelle, I'm going to pick what I think is going to happen. You tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong, and how wrong, and what you think.
Okay,
So, first of all, the first game is probably going to be Borden by 25 points.
I think it's going to be Borden too. So
Yeah, it's not going to be close, I don't believe. And then game number 2 is going to be number 11 Northeast Du Bois, which is 19 and 6 against Anderson Prep, regional champion. Never had been even a sectional champion until this year. 18 and 9 going into this game. That is the second game at approximately noon, probably noon, assuming the first game doesn't go into triple overtime or something. The way they space this out, it's well done too.
yes,
Um, and the championship game is at 8 o'clock. And in game number 2, it's a whole different world for the Jets. Michelle, love the story, but it's going to be a 30-point win, likely for Northeast Du Bois.
oh, I think so. The Jets are a wonderful story. Just
Yes,
what I mean, their very first sectional win last year, almost won the sectional last year. Then to come back, win a sectional and regional, but
and to win
yeah,
18 games.
yes, and to win 18 games. But they have Olivia Peoples, but they just don't. I don't think they have all the guards needed to win at this level. So, Northeast Du Bois is gonna in APA season, but the Jets, they have a lot to be, no matter how that game ends, even if they lose by 30, they
Yes.
have a lot to be proud of this
Yes,
year.
they do. And who knows what could happen, but Northeast Du Bois is probably one of the teams. Well, I think the champion's probably going to come from the North, is my guess, but they could definitely be in the championship game. So,
And Borden and Northeast Du Bois will probably make a
yes.
really fascinating championship game.
Yes, it will. And Northeast Du Bois is a program that's always expecting to get there, and Borden's never been there. So that'll be interesting, but I think this might be the year for Borden.
It
All
might
right.
be.
And then it's really good. Well, two really good teams in the North, of course. Class A at Laporte, it's 21-5 Elkhart Christian against 23-4 sixth ranked Lafayette Central Catholic. The game's at 11 a.m. You know what? Elkhart Christian, pretty good team.
They are.
Michelle, and guess what? The game is not going to be close. I'm going to say Central Catholic by 13.
And you could be right in there. The one thing you got to be leery of for Central Catholic is the fact that they're looking ahead to the championship. Hopefully they. I don't think they will because they have a lot of experience, tournament success. So I do think that they will win the morning game.
All right. Well, we're going to pick the first round games here, and then I'm going to come back around at the end, and we're going to pick who we think is going to win. I forgot to mention that part.
Okay.
All right. Set game number 2 at Laporte is 16-10 North Miami against number 1 Marquette Catholic, which is 22-4, and nice run again for North Miami. It's been a historic season for North Miami. But if they play within 15 points of Marquette Catholic, it's a really good performance.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll be within 15 points. I think their season's going to come to a crashing end.
Yes.
Marquette Catholic, when they're good, they're really good, and it's just a different level. They're not a typical 1A team, just like Central Catholic's not a typical 1A team.
And again, we'll go through and make all 8 of our championship picks at the end. But I'm just going to say that one's going to be a great one.
Yes.
2A North is at Logansport, and it starts with number 17 Whitco, which is 21-4 against 26-1 and 5th ranked Eastside at 10 a.m., followed by number 11 Sheridan against number 2 Rensselaer Central. Sheridan's course is 25-1, 23 wins in a row. Rensselaer Central 24-2. They just beat Alexandria. That game's at noon. But I'm going to start with the first game here, Michelle. And Whitco's a really good team, and they they just keep getting. It seems like they've gotten better every week throughout the season. You started to notice it about midway through the year. I don't know if they got people back or what happened, but they started to be competitive with all the best teams in the Three Rivers Conference, which was pretty good this year, and the competition around there. But East Side, I believe, is elite and is going to win
I
this game by 8 points.
Yeah, I agree. East Side is going to win. It may be close early, but I think it won't be close late.
All right. And then the big one for us, of course, Jadalyn Bradshaw and the Sheridan Blackhawks taking on Rensselaer Central, which is ranked number 2. And I just think whoever wins this game might be winning the semi-state. And I really think that the Sheridan Blackhawks win this game by 4 points.
Yeah, I think they'll win too. What they did to Cass, and I saw Twitter feeds, and somebody said, "Oh, the 2A thing should be seeded." What they don't realize is Cass is a really good team. People should have shared what Sheridan did to Cass doesn't make you stop and realize that Sheridan is a really good team. Then you really don't know high school girls basketball. Because
Sheridan is a really good team, Michelle.
Yeah, and Lewis Cass, they beat a really
Yes.
strong team in Lewis Cass.
And Lewis
I mean,
Cass
what
dominated
Sheridan
Oak Hill.
did, pardon?
Lewis Cass had just dominated Oak Hill.
Yeah, I mean, what they don't understand is, Cass is so Sheridan's win is as impressive as all get out.
Yeah.
I've said it for 2 years, and I'll continue to say it. I think what Jadalyn has done at Sheridan, especially with this group and this group of seniors, is remarkable. I know the Star did a story where Kinsey Garner is closing in on becoming Sheridan's all-time leading scorer. But for her, that doesn't matter. Her points don't matter.
That's
It's she
team.
wants to win a semi-state champion. She's got team goals
The team
first, and then
around
that's
her is, I mean, they're not as skilled as her, of course, but they're athletic and they are a very talented bunch. I don't see a reason they can't win this whole thing.
I don't see a reason they can't either, and I do think they'll win the second game. You know, I of course you picked Rensselaer to beat Alec last week, I think, and I really thought Alexandria would win, and they were in control
Yeah. It
for a
went
lot
about
of.
how I thought. It would be really down to the wire.
Yeah, I think the difference with probably between Sheridan and Alexandria is I think Sheridan is better at controlling pace and knowing how to be able to, if they get a lead, of being able to dictate and not keeping it fast paced. I think LA plays fast. And
Also, nothing against Alexandria's players. By the way, I did an interview with him and loved it. But Sheridan, 4, 5, 6, 7 deep is
yes,
just so good.
yes, and you don't know. I mean, you figure Garner's good for anywhere from 14 to 40 points a game, but
Yeah.
then you don't know where I mean, but Sheridan's probably going to have at least two more double, if not three more double figure scores to go with her.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the 2A South in Jasper. And again, we will make I think we're both probably revealed who we're going to pick in that one, but we're going to come back and make all the picks for all of them here in a minute. 2A South is at Jasper, and number one, 25-2 South Knox takes on 23-4 Park Heritage. Big test South Knox got by North Knox. They're a big rival and the team they've not been able to get past for a long time. And now I think they're probably going to be set free. They're going to win this game, and it's not going to be a competition somewhere in the 25 range.
That Park Heritage is a little intriguing to me because I know it's not been in existence a long time,
Right.
and I'm not sure what do you know what two schools joined to make Park
Riverton
Heritage?
Park and Turkey Run. Oh, Turkey Run and Rockville.
Okay.
I just looked it up, Michelle. It's Turkey Run and Rockville, by the way.
No, Turkey Run and Rockville, which both of them have. Turkey Run, I think, had a pretty good girls program. I know Rockville had a really outstanding boys program.
And in game number two, two teams with a lot of tradition. One of them that proved me wrong last week. Number 10, Brownstown Central is 22-5. Heritage Christian 14-12. That game is at noon. And I'm going to just doubt them again. I'm just going to do it right to their faces again. I'm going to say Brownstown's going to win this game by double digits, 10 points.
You know what? I picked them last week because I know the schedule they play. I know the tradition and the expectations in that program as far as when it comes postseason. That's what they play for.
Yep.
So
All true.
I'm gonna pick Heritage Christian. You
Wow.
know, they are I'm they play a different brand of basketball and they got athletes. People don't understand that
Whoa, whoa,
they have players that could play and start for 4A teams.
well, Brownstown has athletes too, and they come from the Mid Southern Conference, where they can play a little basketball too. And if you're
Oh, I know.
22-5 and you play that schedule, Heritage Christian is not going to intimidate you.
No, but Heritage Christian's not going to be intimidated,
Oh,
and
that's
they're not
for
going to look at
sure.
Brownstown's ranking or
Yeah,
ranking or record, and it's
sure.
not. It's not. They have an expect. Heritage Christian is a team that expects to be playing for a state championship every year.
Yep. And their expectation should be that every year because they're at that level all the time. But I still think Brownstown is a double digit better than they are. But we'll see.
Well, Browns. I won't say Brownstown can't win, but I don't think it will be double digits.
And again, barely double digits. I said
Okay.
10.
Oh, well, I forgot you did. So
3A North at Huntington North is number 9 Norwell 20-6 against 18-7 Delta. That game's at 10 a.m., followed by number 5 Columbia City, which is 23-4, against 15-10 Highland at noon. And we'll start, of course, with Norwell and Delta. And Delta, again, great story. It's if Griffin Knight was had not been injured in the sectional semifinal, again, great job winning 2 games without her, especially a Yorktown team that was also playing very well. But Norwell is a whole different level. Even if they're healthy, they probably don't win this game. They're not healthy. Norwell's on a roll. 25 points.
I don't know, it'll be 25, but it will definitely be anywhere from 15. It'll be 15 or more, I believe.
I would have
Norwell.
said 15 if they hadn't lost their leading scorer in the
Well,
sectional.
that's
So.
probably true. So it probably will be more. But yeah, Norwell. Norwell's been here before. They're pretty good.
But incredible job by that. I said it about 5 times this week. What an amazing job by Tyronda Benning. She's done with that program that was, I don't want to say laughing stock, Michelle, but at the bottom of that conference most of the time. And just to come in there, no seniors on that entire roster. And in 2 years, just turn this into a winner.
Yes,
Incredible.
exactly.
Incredible job. But it probably will come to an end Saturday morning. Number 5, Columbia City against Highland. Again, this is great job by Highland. Congratulations, you got here. This game's going to be, again, 25. It's going to be 2
Yeah.
rested teams in that final.
Yeah. Definitely. You know, Norwell and Columbia City should be should be a great semi-state championship match.
Yes, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. 3A South at New Albany is 2 teams that I'm sure are familiar with each other. 18-9 Cathedral against 17-8 Roncalli at 10 a.m. That's followed by number 1 and unbeaten, one of 2 unbeaten teams in the entire state, Greensburg against number 4, 23-4 Evansville Central. That game will be at approximately noon. Will probably noon again, unless the previous game goes into triple overtime and forces the game to start late. I have not spent a lot of time thinking about Cathedral and Roncalli this year. I've got to be honest. I do a lot of looking at scores and comparing, and I don't know why it never occurred to me that these 2 teams are going to be teams to keep eyes on, but of course they always are, as it turns out.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and this one's
especially
good.
think
This one could go either way. I'm going to take Cathedral by 3 points.
I'll take Roncalli. I think you can go either way. Roncalli is yeah, I'll just take Roncalli because again, I think their girls basketball tradition is just a little bit better. I know I'm going to guess that they share some athletes with volleyball and they know how good they were in
Yeah.
volleyball
Yes.
and that success. They've been there and done that. And
Win at a
so,
lot of things.
yeah, so I'll say Roncalli. I do think it'll be a close. And
Yes.
I'll go with Roncalli.
This is the one where I was saying we might have 3 fantastic games.
Yes.
And number 1, Greensburg against number 4, Evansville Central. Michelle, this one, Greensburg's proven that they can win game after game, but Evansville Central's proven they can win at this level. This one's very tough. I'll just say Evansville Central by a point.
Yeah, I mean,
Big win
what?
over Corridon.
Yeah, what a little bit of a toss up. You know, Greensburg keeps winning. They're undefeated. It's a tough thing to, it's tough to do. Am I not right? They and Hamilton Southeastern are the only 2 undefeated teams left.
Correct.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll go with you. I'll say Evansville Central because even if Greensburg wins, I'm not sure. I don't think they win that semi-state. So I'll say Evansville Central in a toss up too.
All right. 4A North at Frankfort. Speaking of Hamilton Southeastern, they, of course, are number 1, 26-0. They take on 19-7 Valparaiso at 10. That's followed by number 5 Warsaw, which is 24-1 against 24-3 McCutcheon. First game, Hamilton Southeastern is going to win fairly easily in the first game. I'll say 15.
Yeah, I say Hamilton Southeastern too. And I think that first game will be a little easier, and I kind of hope it is. I hope that they don't have to run the legs off Makalewski and Stidham,
Mm-hmm.
or Holman, their other
Right.
outstanding their junior point guard, who's really good. But yeah, Hamilton Southeastern that first one.
Second game should be a really good one. Number 5 Warsaw against McCutcheon. McCutcheon isn't ranked, but they've proven over and over that they are really good. Of course, that's a team that beat Rensselaer Central fairly handily not long ago. But I still think Warsaw wins by 10.
Yeah. Kudos to McCutcheon, and for the most part, they're underclassmen dominated. Their best player is a sophomore,
Hmm.
and again, making note that McCutcheon, that Riley Wetz, former Tipton player, is a senior for McCutcheon this year, and has been playing well and has having a lot of fun and a lot of success. And hats off! I'm glad to see Riley and her teammates be able to enjoy this run. But I do think it comes to an end. I told you again how neat it is. Like last week, what a wonderful story Warsaw is when the 50-year anniversary, and they're having quite the season. And the very first, I should say, state champion. It's great to see that school still in the tournament at this stage.
Pretty cool. All right, and 4A South is at Southport, Michelle. Only one ranked team in this regional, and it's number 11. 19-6 Pike, which has been playing really well, against number 11 Bloomington South, which is 23-2 at 10 a.m. And Gibson Southern, which is somehow not ranked, despite being the defending 3A state champion and being 21-6 on the season, against Lawrence North, which is somehow not ranked, despite everyone knowing coming into the postseason that they were one of the best 10 teams in the state, even though they're 16-8. That game is at noon. So even though there are no ranked teams in this, there are good teams in this one.
Yeah, I think for Lawrence North, a lot of it is because Lawrence Central, and
Yeah.
that was a big win for Lawrence North in the sectional. Because
Yes.
Lawrence Central, truly, I really thought that it was going to be them in Southeastern. I thought we might have a rematch of the Hall of Fame championship
Right.
in the state championship. But kudos to Lawrence North. I think they win that game against Gibson Southern, and
Oh, I'm gonna make my pick first if that's all right.
okay.
First, I think Pike is going to beat Bloomington South by 5 points.
Oh man, I think that may be, but I'm sorry. I think well, IU women played a great game in Bloomington tonight against Ohio State, and
Still gut
hey, down
feeling.
there, I just think South is going to get that first one.
And then, of course, it's Lawrence North against Gibson Southern. Great story for Gibson Southern to get all the way back here to semi-state. First time ever in Class 4A. That is not a school that's a huge 3A school, by the way. So they are really playing up. But that's probably going to end Lawrence North by 7.
Yeah, like I said, I take North in that game too. It could actually be, it could actually even be a little bit more than 7.
Oh, it definitely could be. But at this point, you have to have a lot of respect for what Gibson Southern's done.
Oh yes.
All right, Michelle. Class A at Shelbyville. You and I both said it'll be number 2 Borden against number 11 Northeast Du Bois in the championship game. Who you got?
Um, I think Northeast Du Bois. I think it's going to be a toss up. 1A, and 1A in the South. I think is extremely hard to predict who comes out of, because 1A is such a different
Yeah.
class, especially down in the South. But I'll give a nod to Northeast Du Bois.
Before when it was Lanesville, it was pretty easy to predict who was going to come out of it. But now that Lanesville's in 2A, that is a little harder to pick who's going to win it this year. All right. In
Yes.
Class A at Laporte, we both agree it's going to be Lafayette Central Catholic against Marquette Catholic. I'm going to go ahead and make the pick this first before you on this one. I'm going to say Marquette Catholic in a really close one.
I agree. I think it will be Marquette Catholic in a really close one too. I believe Marquette Catholic is the reigning champion.
Yes.
Yeah. So I agree. I think it'll be Marquette Catholic in a close one. I just think they have just a little bit more than maybe Central Catholic in the end, as a versatile game. So
By the way, they lost to Lanesville last year, and we just mentioned that they lost to Lanesville in the state championship last year.
Okay. Well, I knew
Yeah.
they'd. I was pretty sure they'd won the semi-state up there.
Right.
Or in the state title. Okay.
And 2A in the north at Logansport, we both agree that it's going to be East Side against Sheridan. Your pick?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the right pick, but I'm I'm rooting for him. I know I'm not technically supposed to root for anybody, but
Yep.
I am rooting for Jaden Delph and the Sheridan Blackhawks, and so I'm going to take Sheridan. I think it's going to be a hard battle. I think it's they're going to need to win. I mean, they're going to have a shorter rest, but I think if there's a team that can do it because they are. I mean, I think they can play 8 deep, you know, and they're at least 6 deep in scoring. So I'll take Sheridan.
Michelle, when I was about 12 years old, I decided that I was just going to give everyone my opinion no matter what it was. I was never going to lie about my opinion. And I think that works really well in this format because I'm just going to tell people whether it's my team or not. And I believe Sheridan is going to win this regional or this semi-state.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
said,
I am cheering for them too, by the way. But
and
I honestly believe they're going to win the semi-state.
I kind of had a feeling all along that it would be Sheridan, and maybe it's because I've seen him play a little bit, watched him on live
Sure,
stream a little bit,
that
and
could be an influencing me too. Of course, we saw
especially
Rensselaer
against good
Central.
teams.
We also just saw Rensselaer Central too. So
Yeah, and but I've seen Sheridan against good teams, and they
yes,
just seem to weather whatever comes their way.
they really
And
do
and they tend to go on runs. And if somebody gets back in, they tend to answer those runs. And
because they have a
that's
lot of ways to beat you.
yes, they really do. And I think for them, it will just be making sure that they take care they take care of the basketball.
In the 2A in the South at Jasper, we disagree on what the championship game will be. I say it'll be number one South Knox against number 10 Brownstown. You say it'll be number one South Knox against Heritage Christian. I think South Knox is going to win. Do you agree with me?
Man, this is this is this is so hard.
I think they've been clear, far, and away the best team in 2A this year.
Yeah, well, I will take South Knox, but I will agree with you. I think it'll be South Knox, though I would not be shocked if it is Heritage Christian.
I would. The way South Knox competed against the best teams in the state, the 4A teams, and it would completely shock me if they'd lose this weekend. All right, 3A North in Huntington. We both agree it's going to be number 9 Norwell against number 5 Columbia City, and I'm going to take the defending champion Norwell Knights.
Oh man, you know what? Again, I'm going to agree with you only because I'm going to give a little shout out to Brandon Spidell, who is the father of Tipton senior Landon Spidell, who's a senior
Right?
member on the basketball team here, and his sophomore son Owen played tennis and is a sophomore member of the Blue Devil squad. He's from
Mm-hmm.
Norwell, so
Both been on the podcast.
yes, and so I'm gonna say Norwell. I kind of like to see them win. So yeah, Norwell.
Yeah, and man, they've been playing really well. They don't look like they're the same team that lost games early in the year.
No,
3A South is at New Albany again. Um, you believe that it will be Ron Colley versus Evansville Central. I picked Cathedral versus Evansville Central, although I think you kind of convinced me that Ron Colley might win that one. But I'm taking Evansville Central either way.
I'll go with Roncalli. I mean, just because I'm not big on I don't really cheer a lot for the private schools, Toman, and I won't. I mean, of course, that first one won't matter because they're both private with Cathedral and Roncalli. And
Yeah.
folks, I am Catholic, by the way, but
And I
you
don't
know,
either, and it's only because they win so much. That's all.
well, it's because they win so many. Here's why I don't. Because They do recruit. I don't care what they say,
But
and they can,
everybody does now, and everybody can now.
everybody's going to start, especially now with this open policy and the
Right.
transfer rule. But and the other thing is they can control their school enrollments. Public
Yes.
schools cannot,
Yeah.
and private schools can. So they can
Yeah.
handpick which
There are
class they
definitely
want to be in.
advantages, and that's why most of us don't want them to win.
Right.
And again, if they weren't winning at everything, no one would care that they were private
Yeah. I
schools.
think it'd
And
be great if Evansville Central got there. I just think I think it's going to be Roncalli.
all right, well, I think it'll be Evansville Central, and that'll be a another great final week from Saturday. 4A
Mhm.
North at Frankfurt. We both agree that it's going to be Hamilton Southeastern against Warsaw. Any reason that we don't think this is Hamilton Southeastern?
Ah, the only thing I will say is, like I said, Warsaw. Sometimes you can just have teams of destiny,
Mm.
and like I said, it's just when you
Good
think
vibes in
about it,
Warsaw right now.
and you think about the story and the history, and they're
Yes.
celebrating 50
50th
years,
year.
and
Yes.
and I bet you Warsaw, I bet even though it's not real close to Frankfurt, I bet you that place is packed
And one
with
of the
Warsaw
all-time
fans.
legends, of course, from that team 50
Judy
years
Warren, and I
ago.
bet you
Yeah.
Judy Warren will be there.
Ooh.
And um, hey, real quick little side note: Judy Warren's college roommate was a cousin of mine. So
Oh, nice.
I did not even realize that until I ran into Judy Warren at a family funeral. And she goes, "Well,"
Oh.
she goes, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, this is my." I said, "Our cousins or whatever." She said, "Well," she goes, "Well, I was roommate with his daughter.
Oh.
College roommates with his daughter." So
Yeah. Nice. Very
yeah,
cool. And if you don't know Judy Warren's story, go read it. It's plenty of places now. Fantastic high school basketball story.
yeah, and um, here's the thing: I do think when it comes to top-notch players and the level of talent they have, I do think Hamilton Southeastern has
Yep.
more of it. But like I said, I want to pick Southeastern, but I don't, it's real thing. It's like I was like, well, how Southeastern should win it, but it's like there's just something about this Warsaw team, and when you delve into it, and the sister and just everything,
Yeah. And
I
none of it'll make a difference against a Southeastern team that's just better than everybody.
yeah,
although although the championship game would not be easy.
no, and and I saw um here's the thing is it will be interesting, and I'm going to go this way with Southeastern's coach. I think Satterfield has done outstanding jobs coaching because he came from the boys, coaching boys and girls. But if he would win, this would be the first. I mean, he hadn't won very many regionals. Last week might have been his first or only second regional out of all those talented teams he'd coached. And I know that doesn't make a difference, but I think sometimes, it's just I don't know. But I will say this: if they play that defense that they played against Westfield in the second half of the sectional, I don't think there's anybody that could stop Southeastern. I will take
Yeah.
Hamilton Southeastern, but if Warsaw wins, I won't be surprised, and I
Oh,
will
I will.
probably be cheering for them the next week just because of what a story it would
Sure.
be.
Sure. I would be very surprised. All right, the championship game at Southport we both predicted would be Pike again. Oh, you said Bloomington South based on vibes. Um,
Yeah.
Bloomington South against Lawrence North. I said Pike against Lawrence North, and I'm gonna take Pike, Michelle. I just love the way they're playing.
You're gonna take Pike. I love Bloomington South, and I like the vibes they're going on. But I will say this: I think Lawrence North righted himself. They've been good. They've learned how to win
So is
close
Pike.
games. So I know, and
Pike's done
but
the same thing.
I know, but I just think that win over Lawrence Central in the sectional championship is huge. Um, they hadn't. I mean, it was the first time they'd beaten Lawrence Central in like 5 or 6 games. So, um, you know, I'll say Lawrence North.
And then, of course, next week you and I will come on and we will talk even more in depth about the state championship games after you and I get a chance to um, get the results from these. It'll be so interesting this weekend. Like you said, I think this is the best weekend of all of them. But
Oh, I do
looking
too.
forward to see who wins those state championships too. We've been kind of counting down to it for 4 months now.
Hey, and folks, I don't know if the games are if they're gonna if the semi-states are gonna be live streamed for free or not. But if they're not, and they offer you that package deal where you can see all of the semi-state games for a decent amount of money, and I think it's $25. If you really like basketball, it would be a good investment, and then you could go back and you could watch any game you wanted to, afterwards. Because I think there are going to be some great semi-state matchups this weekend.
It's just a shame that they don't put it on television for free for everybody like they should, because it's high school kids. Thank you so much to Michelle for joining us. I say it every time because it's true, but I love talking to Michelle about sports every single time. She's the best. Also, thank you for listening. Always appreciate it. Please go like, subscribe, follow. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe, please. And tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. You have no idea how much spreading the word will help us. Just tell one person. Maybe they tell a person. Maybe that person tells four. Maybe those four people tell 20. And we would really like to become your Central Indiana sports news source. And go APA, Sheridan, and Delta. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie. Go sports.